one of the things that like I get emotional about whenever I talk about it is she's a mother and her daughter is now watching her changes. And she still texts me to this day telling me about how her daughter is getting excited about trying the things that she's eating. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. When you decide to do this work, you are changing your legacy. You are changing the generation of your family. You decide that I will be the one that changes. And please do not listen when they tell you that your genetics control your health experience. The genetics are controlled by your diet and your lifestyle. You control your health destiny. You have so much more investment in what that health outcome is. And she has completely changed her life, and she has completely changed her children's life because she decided to do the work. She decided that she was not going to be okay with just, this is how you're supposed to feel as a mother.
Hey girls, it's Bree
and Cece,
and you're tuned into For the Girls. Today's guest, Leslie, is a 4-time certified functional nutritionist, a speaker, and founder of Leslie Jackson Wellness. She specializes in helping high-performing women rebalance their hormones, restore gut health, and regulate their nervous system using functional lab testing, nutrition, and lifestyle medicine. And I can speak from experience, y'all. She is amazing. I've done consultations with her. She is here to talk about something that is very educational, but in a very relatable way, which is why I love her as a guest. We've had her on previous shows in the past, and she was just a phenomenal interview. So Leslie, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So excited to have you. Because I mean, how critical is this conversation?
I know.
Something we all struggle with. It's like, and I don't think anyone really knows what's causing it, what to do about it, why it's happening. So I'm super excited to dive deeper into this.
Yeah, I want to start off with just kind of like what made you get in this lane of being a functional nutritionist in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So before my previous career I was in technology sales. I was a vice president of sales, and kind of in the first half of that career, I found myself very much struggling, and I was burning the ends of the stick. I was burning the stick at both ends, and really just like not getting enough sleep. I was gaining weight. I had a lot of brain fog, very low energy, just bloated all the time. And everybody was really happy with me at that point in time, because like really at that point in time in my career, I was very much a people pleaser. I was doing all the things, I was taking my clients out late nights, dining all my clients, and really sacrificing my needs and my well-being just for the sake of my career.
Right.
And I got to a point where my nervous system got very dysregulated, and it really prevented me from being able to operate and perform at the caliber that I knew that I was capable of. And so I very much hesitated to go to a doctor to figure out what was going on with me at that point, because back when I was in college, I had actually been misdiagnosed with ADHD.
And prescribed something?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Misdiagnosed with ADHD and prescribed Adderall for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And as every year went on, I really grew a tolerance to it. So they just like kept increasing my dose and kept increasing my dose. And then I got to a point where like I wasn't sleeping very much at night.
No, you're on like this high
stimulant,
high potency Adderall.
Yeah, exactly. And so after 4 years of being on a stimulant that I should have never been put on, I mean, literally I went to the doctor. In 10 minutes, they had diagnosed me with ADHD. Mind you, I was in school full-time. I was working a full-time job and a part-time job. And I had another job 6 days a week, partying at night. So
Oh,
I was just
wow.
like, when I say burning at both ends of the stick,
Yeah,
like
it's an understatement.
like obviously I was having focus issues. Obviously I was going to be gaining weight. Like
Right.
obviously I was creating the issues. But the doctor didn't ask me anything about that. And so I actually ended up getting off of the Adderall, and it took my body a full year to recover from being on that medication. Like it took a year for my personality to come back, for like my ambition, my mental clarity. And so because of that experience, when I hit my rock bottom, when I was about midway through my career in technology sales, I was like, I am not going to my doctor to figure this out. And I really just started like Googling, like, what can I do to clear my skin? What can I do to get rid of this belly fat? What can I do to get rid of this brain fog? And everything pointed to all the things that I didn't want to be the answer, which was sleep, stop drinking alcohol, like eat real food, get outside, walk, get your workout in. And so I was actually looking into hiring a nutritionist, and then I eventually, long story short, decided to become a nutritionist. And so I started to really revamp the way that I was carrying myself through my life. And I ended up really fully healing my skin, rebalancing my body composition, getting my nervous system re-regulated. And everybody around me, though, not everyone, but a lot of people around me that were high performers in the company were doing all kinds of other things to keep up with the late nights and the all day, you know, like I'm not going to name what was going on, but there was stuff going on, you know, so
some performance
enhancers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, I've been there and I know what that does to you. I'm not doing it. And in the latter half of my career, I really started to excel. I mean, I sold over $18 million worth in technology.
Wow.
Like I was really excelling. I got promoted, made it to VP. And then people started asking me a lot more questions about how I was operating at the caliber that I was operating in without doing all of the things that most of everybody else was doing. And my conversations became a lot more about health than about technology.
So you found that once you started to make those foundational changes, you actually started to excel more in your career.
Oh, yeah.
After you got off the Adderall.
Yes.
Interesting. Because I feel like a lot of people think that if they want to have that focus, if they want to be able to do the late nights and go above and beyond, Adderall is the answer.
Yeah.
I want to actually know more about the drinking thing, because one of the fun facts that I learned about you after meeting you in person was that you don't drink alcohol. And I never knew, because you know how sometimes when you're out and about, people are partying, having a good time, and then there comes that moment where it's like, let's do a shot, and then that one person's like, oh, I don't drink, and then you're like, why? What's wrong?
What's wrong with you?
And I remember we were at Cece's house for, it was either a housewarming or Capri's party. It was for something, and we all were drinking, and you were there, and I started to talk to you a little bit more about like why you actually don't drink, and it was all health related, and that was in a space where both me and Cece were like thinking about, should we give up alcohol fully? And those listening are probably like, yeah, it's not easy, right? So can you share a little bit about how you actually got to the point of cutting out alcohol and how long it took for the transition to be like a lifestyle choice where it's just now you don't even think about it versus it being a struggle to like actually commit to this new idea of like how you're having a good time and what you're putting in your body?
Yes, 100%. So a lot of what motivated me to do the hard things was, yes, like I wanted to feel really good and sexy in my physique, but I really wanted to feel at peace in my mind. And I just noticed that I was doing so much work during the day, eating well, working out, getting my sunshine, prioritizing my sleep. And then every single time that I would go out and I would have drinks, it would set me back like for almost a week.
Yes.
Like a week. It's not a 24-hour hangover anymore.
Oh,
once you hit your 30s.
After 30, it's 72 hours.
It's a minimum 3 days.
It's 72
just
hours
to recover. Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, one thing about me is I'm impatient. I'm a very impatient person, and I will get impatient with myself. I'd be like, bitch, get it together.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
you're doing. Like, you know that you're part of the problem right now. So I would just like the time in between me drinking alcohol just got wider and wider and wider. It eventually became like a every once in a while thing, a year. And every single time I was reminded as to why I didn't do this.
Yeah.
And now I'm a business owner and I cannot afford to not be mentally functioning very well
Right.
Yeah.
for 3 to 4 days. Like,
Right.
I can't afford that. I rely on having a high performing brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took probably 3 or 4 years for me
Wow.
to get to the point where I was like, no. And because it's not just you.
Yeah.
It's
your
environment.
Your environment. It's what everybody else is doing around you.
Absolutely.
And you'll appreciate this. You kind of have to recreate your brand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, people know you. I was the party girl. I was the life of the party.
Hey, girl.
I was like, oh, when Leslie's
Same.
there and she's drinking, oh, we about to have a good
Uh-huh,
time.
uh-huh.
You know, but I just like, I had to release the obligation of being that girl and also build the trust with myself that I could be my full, authentic, expressed self sober.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I had to grow the trust in myself to be able to be in these, and I was going to say be in these environments without drinking. But the other thing is like, some of those environments I was in, I got sober and realized I don't want to be in those environments anymore. So it's like, it's cool if you stop going to places that you once enjoyed whenever you were drinking. So it's just like recreating your brand and surrounding yourself with people that respect your boundaries, respect your life choices. And if those people don't respect that I personally don't recommend to have them in your life.
Yeah.
You know, but it just took a conversion, me building trust, people adjusting to my new lifestyle, and me learning the same lesson a million times to finally get to the point where I'm like, it's just, it ain't it. It's not part of my life anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, how powerful is this story? Because we hear it so many times. I mean, I can definitely relate to this personally about, you know, you having a corporate job and wanting to be a high performer in your corporate job, but feeling burnt out and and feeling unwell. Many women can relate to this. That a lot of women are at their desk with an ibuprofen and a coffee, and then like feeling foggy and wanting to do their absolute best, wanting to be high performers, but at the end of the day, they're feeling completely drained. They're lashing out at their kids. They're being unkind to the people closest to them, and they're like, they have no answers as to why. They go to their doctors seeking answers, and then their doctor just writes them a prescription for something. Because at the end of the day, that's what traditional medicine in the United States is all about. It's about writing the prescription so that they get paid and you stay reliant on pharmaceuticals. So can you tell us a little bit more about the difference of functional health in comparison to traditional medicine?
Yeah.
What do we need to know more about functional health, and how can people lean more into that instead of just relying on making an appointment with their doctor and hoping that this doctor that they probably know is going to prescribe them something and solves all their issues?
Yeah. I will say what's really important to know is that you have to really want it, because a significant difference between creating health in the functional space and relying on the conventional space is you have to participate in your healing journey in functional health. Like, I do not give you a pill that makes it all just disappear. Like, you have to be honest with yourself about how you may be contributing to your suffering. And a lot of people don't want to be told that. They don't want, and the other thing is that we're fucking exhausted today. So like, we have, especially women, we're just overwhelmed with all of the obligations. So like, to be told that like we need to take on this other thing to like help ourselves heal sometimes feels overwhelming. But I have stories that I'll share later on that it's very, very attainable, and it will literally make your life easier. when you are trying to charge through your life and take on all these obligations and show up and perform and be there for everybody, doing all the things, and you are also battling an internal battle that's sucking the energy out of you and making you not feel good. It's damaging your confidence, your self-esteem. It's making you hide from cameras. It really makes you shrink your life.
Yeah.
It really does. And so I would say, I mean, honestly, you really touched on it a minute ago. The most significant difference between functional health is the science of creating health. It is the science of providing your body with the resources that it needs to activate its innate brilliance of knowing how to heal. There is an understanding that I wish more people commonly could capture, which is our bodies were brilliantly designed to know how to heal.
Yeah.
Like, we are living in one of the most resilient vessels to ever walk this earth.
Yep.
And in the conventional space, which I will say I'm very grateful that we have the advances in technology and in medicine today for the conventional space. But I would argue that the conventional space should be considered the alternative form of medicine.
Instead of the other way around.
Exactly. The conventional space should be the alternative form of medicine, where if you tried to heal the body and maybe it's too worn down or it's in whatever state where it needs support, maybe we rely on conventional medicine for that. You know, I've had some women come to me where they were in such a deep depressed state where they had a lot of shame about considering like getting on an antidepressant medicine or something like that. And I'm like, listen, babe, this is going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of work to heal. If you feel like you need some support to get you functioning so that we can then do the work, I support you in that. But we just don't want to rely on that for the rest of our life because we know that there is a long list of side effects to most of those medications. And you just, it messes with your liver, it messes with your kidney. And those are two of your primary detox systems that if those are not functioning well, you're going to struggle all over the place in your health.
Right.
So, I mean, if you need a surgery, we need conventional medicine. If there's certain things that conventional medicine are good for, but the other side of this world is that conventional medicine is owned by the insurance companies.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's a business.
Yeah.
It is a business.
It's
like, let's be real. It is a business.
It's the biggest business. One of the biggest businesses.
Trillions and trillions of dollars of our country's income.
They need you to be reliant on these medications, and they prescribe you different medications for the side effects that the original prescription is causing.
Oh, this antidepressant didn't work. Well, let's add this one on top of it because the side effects are...
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like, crazy. How did we get here?
Right.
How did we get here? It's just a slippery slope. And my experience with the misdiagnosis and the Adderall was my wake-up call that we cannot go to our conventional doctors blindly.
Yes.
Right.
Like, we need to have a baseline understanding of our health so that we don't go to our doctor just completely vulnerable. Completely vulnerable. So there's we could literally talk about this the entire episode. So
you let
me know.
Say, though, is the beauty of social media is that right now we're living in a time where more women like you are using their platforms to educate and to encourage and inspire women who maybe have just thought like my doctor is the only solution. When you explain the difference of how like our bodies are made to actually naturally heal themselves. And so if we just take a step back, and yes, it's going to take a little bit more work because it means actually testing some things out. Like if you're having gut issues, you have to see, well, what are you putting in your body? How is your body reacting to it? The actual answer may take months of you testing and trying and getting lab results and doing all the things and talking to a specialist. Whereas if a woman is already, as you mentioned, exhausted and is already wearing all of these hats, it's easier to just book that appointment appointment, be told something, be prescribed something, and think that you're going to pop a pill and it's going to take the issue away. So it's like, it makes complete sense as to why this is such an issue. But due to social media and due to women like you, I have been noticing more women, just even in my friend circle and in my family, who have been getting really great results with their health because they've just been taking the time to be intentional and to actually find answers, not just have the one thing that one doctor said to them be their end all be all, you know? So I love that we have women like you and platforms like this to be able to have these conversations. So I want to ask you, because when we did our consultation, you explained how like the labs work, and I think you have your clients do their labs, is it every 30 days?
So I like to start with a baseline of gut testing, inflammation testing, hormone testing, nutrient testing, like very significant, and dependent upon what we're working on, because healing the gut takes about 6 months. Rebalancing your hormones can happen. In my practice, I see it happen about 60 to 90 days in. So it actually kind of varies with the testing of what we're focused on rebalancing. I like to retest hormones every 90 days. I like to retest the gut after we've gone through some gut rehabilitation about every 6 months. So it varies a bit. And functional lab testing like truly collapses timeframes. It is very much different than the conventional lab testing that you get in your traditional doctor's office. And it's access to tests that most insurance companies will not cover.
Okay. So you're paying out of pocket for a lot of these tests?
Yes. So I don't take insurance, and I will never take insurance, because the second that you start taking insurance, the insurance company controls how you support your clients. And I will never have my hands tied to what my clients need. And I mean, insurance is a business. They do not make revenue off of giving you everything that could help you prevent something.
I know, yeah. Absolutely.
They want to get the bare minimum. And what I've seen from the testing that I've seen from clients that have brought it into me, very poor quality testing. And they're not even testing some of the most vital things that can tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And the only sense that I can make out of it is like, this must be the cheapest lab that they can get these biometrics from. That's the only thing that I can make sense of from it. So
it's funny because like I got some testing done the other day. I went and got a physical from my conventional doctor.
Yeah.
And they tested for, I think, like a handful of things. And, you know, I have a family history of diabetes, so they tested for that. And it came back that I was pre-diabetic.
Okay.
And I was not completely shocked because literally everybody in my family has diabetes. But when I asked what are some things that I can do, they gave me such a generic answer. Like,
they don't know.
They don't.
I'm telling you, they do not know.
That's definitely what it was giving. Leslie, when I tell you this answer, I could have went on ChatGPT and got a more in-depth answer, you know, than what they gave me. And you know, and it made me kind of wake up and be like, okay, I'm clearly not getting what I need from these tests. Even if I went back to my provider and said, I want a full panel test, I still wouldn't get everything that I feel like I need to understand what's happening in my body. I know I've struggled with a leaky gut. I know I have a number of different autoimmune diseases. I know I struggle with inflammation, and I'm trying to get down to the root cause of why these things are happening. And I feel like I'm not getting the answers. And even with these functional tests, this is something that's very new to me. It's like, I don't even know how to go about requesting these functional tests.
So I was going to ask Leslie, are you familiar with function? Okay. So what are your thoughts on function? Because this is I sent you the link for it. Because they were doing an influencer promo where like all you had to do was fill out an application and they would waive the cost of, it was like 500 plus tests that you get you go and get your blood drawn 2 times, and it was like something else. and the results come back, and it like really does a good job of explaining what all these different things mean. Now, after you have the testing, you don't really know where to go from that, and then you would have to pay to then take the next steps to figuring out X, Y, and Z. But we actually sent our test results to our primary care doctor, and she was so informative. She really sat there and was looking at all of Dre's levels and explaining what the things meant and what he should do and what he doesn't have to worry about. And that was helpful. But I would be lying if I said that every general doctor that I went to was like that. Like she just happened to be really great, and we really appreciated that experience. But talk a little bit about like function and maybe who that could be helpful for. Especially regarding Cece, because I sent her the link and you didn't do it, right?
I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to because of what I experienced with my primary care. I was like, oh, this is not giving what I need. This ain't it.
Yes. Yeah. So I will say first and foremost, what Function Health is doing is a massive step in the right direction, like massive step in the right direction. It's making it much more accessible to gain more biometric data. And they provide lots of recommendations, like what foods you should incorporate, what your top priority supplement should be. I used Function Health years ago in my business. I will say that it is not as comprehensive as the tests that I run in my practice today, but it does give you so much more than what you would get in a standard physical, and it gives you diet and lifestyle recommendations. 100% of their labs are blood test based, where in the functional lab space, we're actually collecting biometrics through other ways that actually give us wider ranges of insights of what's going on in the system. So one of my favorite tests is called a hair tissue mineral analysis, where we'll actually take a little piece of the hair and we can actually see what's been going on with your electrolytes, your heavy metal toxicities. For the past 3 months is really the data that we're looking for.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then also I do a test, like a saliva test, that tells me what your cortisol levels are like throughout the day. And that's not a test you can get through Function Health. There are some metrics that are better collected via blood, and there are some metrics that are better collected via saliva, hair tissue mineral analysis, urine, stool tests. And in my practice, I do all of those, like all of the above, because in some ways, there are some, like cortisol is best tested through the saliva. It's most bioavailably visible in the testing. And also, I really love urine-based testing, because that will actually tell me a lot about what's going on in your gut, because it tells me the byproduct of what is happening in the gut, whether you have yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, H. pylori infection, parasites. Well, H. pylori infection and parasites are most easily collected through a stool test. And that is just much more in-depth testing than what Function Health offers. So I'm a huge proponent of Dr. Mark Hyman, who founded the company, and he is a leader, worldwide leader of functional medicine. So great place to start if you've never, tapped into it before. It's the most financially accessible in my opinion. But there are more advanced tests that can give you more answers than Function.
So it sounds like we need to go to Leslie for our functional testing.
I'm like, that is insane. Wow. Yeah.
So what are some symptoms that women may experience if they're having hormonal imbalances or gut issues? That if they're conscious that they are having these symptoms, then they may be like, oh, maybe I do need to go seek out a functional nutritionist.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I'll have like a conversation and ask like, what are your symptoms? And they'll be like, I think I'm tired, like I know I have some acne. And then I'll have people do an intake form, and they're fatigued. They have chronic acne. They are having a bowel movement maybe once or twice a week.
What? That used to be me.
Yes.
Now I go like 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very common. It's severe constipation. It's very detrimental to the gut and your ability to absorb nutrients, detoxify the system. But brain fog, fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, weight gain, and bloating. Those are the top 5 symptoms that I'm seeing across women right now.
Like women think that these things are just normal and it's just being a woman. And it's
because the thing that's hard is our cycle, Cece talked about this before we started filming, that she was like, essentially I was told like, oh, you get a period and it's just so that you can like have a baby and like keep a tampon on you just in case it comes. But like other than that, we don't really understand what our cycle is, especially during those years where you're not trying to have a baby. It's like, why am I 12 and I'm bleeding every month? Like, what is the actual cause? Like, why do I need to go through this? And we just go through life just knowing that this is something that happens to us every 30 days and not actually understanding what our cycle is. And it wasn't until last year that I started to educate myself on what the 28 cycle is and understanding that everyone's cycle isn't 28 days. Like your cycle is very unique to you, and you have to be able to understand it. And when you do, you can kind of figure out your life and your lifestyle around your cycle. Especially for my girlies who are in spaces where they want to lose weight. And so they're like in the gym heavy. Like you can't work out the same every day. You just can't. Like you have to understand your cycle, where your body is, and like be able to listen. Dre also talked about this earlier today. Listen to your body and really understand what it needs and when it needs it. And that's something that I think is also like a really big benefit of having a functional nutritionist in your corner, because they understand things that to us we're like, oh, we just bleed every 30 days. They're like, no, we understand what is normal, what is not normal, what you're experiencing due to your period or due to you having an actual issue that you're writing off as, oh, well, I'm a woman and I just have periods, so I bloat during this time of the month. It's like, no, ma'am. So I would love for you to talk about, like, for our listeners who maybe have been experiencing like gut issues, or just at the end of the day want to do a better job of maintaining a healthy gut. Like, what are some practical things that you can kind of do on a daily basis to better take care of your gut?
Yeah. Well, I'm just so glad that you're asking this question, because the gut is what is the epicenter of our health. 80% of your immune system lies in the gut. And that's why autoimmune conditions are skyrocketing right now, because there's so many preservatives and gums and things in our food system today that are preventing food from breaking down on the shelf, which is preventing food from breaking down when we put it into our system.
Right.
And when I tell you that leaky gut is exactly what it sounds like, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is holes in your intestinal wall. And right on the outside of your intestinal wall is your immune system and is your blood flow, where nothing that goes into your mouth, into your stomach, has any business doing outside of your intestines. That is what causes your immune system to flare up and send out those signals. There is a threat in our system. And whenever it's happening so chronically, that is when the immune system becomes so dysregulated that it says, I'm crashing out right now. Like, people think that I'm exaggerating when I say your immune system can crash out. Your hormones can crash out. Your stress hormones can crash out. Like, you will hit a wall. And what I'm seeing mostly in women today is they push it so damn hard in their 20s that when they get to their 30s, it's like the hair's falling out. We're having adult acne. We can't think straight. Our memory is leaving us. Like, we just can't keep up with our workload anymore. So what are some things that we can do? A is we have to get 8 hours of sleep. Like, sleep is what promotes us detoxifying. It restores our energy. It regulates our nervous system. And we should take a second to talk about the nervous system, because the nervous system completely dictates what mode your body is functioning in. You are either functioning in fight or flight, or you're functioning in rest and digest mode. When you're in fight or flight, your body deliberately, to keep you to survive, will decrease the amount of oxygen and blood flow to your bowels. And it actually makes your resources flow to your heart, to your muscles, to your eyesight, because your body thinks that it needs to literally prepare to fight or flight.
Right.
And it's not time to be digesting. It's not time to be eating when we're trying to prepare for fight or flight.
Right.
So get your sleep so that you can have better stress capacity, better stress resilience, and function more in equilibrium. That's A. B is hydration. I can't tell you how many women have come to me with constipation. I'm like, babe, are you drinking water? Because like you
dehydrated,
may
girl.
not need a whole ass gut rehabilitation. You may just need to start drinking water, okay? It can be that sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, especially whenever you start eating real food, aka produce with lots of fiber in it. If you start eating lots of fibrous foods and you're not hydrating, you will be in a world of pain. So, switching from ultra processed foods to real foods, like human food, that is going to make the biggest impact. I like to really simplify things. So instead of trying to memorize the tens of thousands of different ingredients that are being flooded into our food system now, what I really want people to work on is focusing on just eating single ingredient foods. If a box has more than 5 ingredients on it, probably a no-go.
Right.
Probably a no-go. So 1 ingredient foods, no more than 5 ingredients in a box. Organic is very important. Get your sleep. I need you to be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces in water a day. Okay. Taking a probiotic is a great way to support your gut health. But if you have severe gut issues, simply taking 1 gut probiotic is not going to rehabilitate the gut. But you're asking, like, what can we do simply and foundationally? Also, move. We need 10,000 steps a day. Walking helps to regulate your nervous system more than anything else, aside to sleep. So walking is really important, not only for your gut to regulate your nervous system, but also to up-regulate your metabolism.
Okay.
And strength training, like muscle mass controls
Yes.
your metabolism. Your metabolism is completely reliant upon your gut health. Like your gut is where you ingest the food and you absorb the nutrients. Those nutrients is what supplies your body the resources to create the hormones. So if you're not absorbing your nutrients, you don't have the raw materials for your body to regulate your hormones.
And then you're essentially doing all this work and you're not seeing any results because you're like fighting against the results that you're trying to get because you're clashing.
Yes.
You're running into a wall.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, well, I am eating healthy and I am doing this, I am doing that, but you're not seeing the result that you want, which I really want you to talk about this because y'all know I have been like just in love with Club Studio. I would do 4 classes a day if I was allowed. Dre literally unenrolled me from 2 classes. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday because he was like, you are doing too much.
Yeah.
And Leslie yelled at me through my DM when I had posted that I did, and I still do this, and I'm gonna switch it up, but this is like a real honest conversation, y'all, because I know Leslie's gonna tell me something I don't want to hear, but it's important to know, and I think it's helpful for other people because there is such a thing as overworking out. Like
Yes.
you could do too much working out, and it doesn't make sense because it's like, what do you mean? Like, how is doing this many workouts a bad thing? So I really want you to explain. So first, I'm gonna say what you told me. So I posted a story that said 6 a.m. Pilates, and then I put like what was it? It was like I did like a ride class and then a boxing class, and it was like in one day. So I had a 6 a.m. and then a 5 p.m. and a 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And Leslie's response was like, "Girly," I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was like, "Girl, like you're doing too much. Your adrenal is what's
Adrenaline.
the word? Your adrenaline?
It's really so your adrenals.
Adrenals,
Maybe
that was the
adrenals.
word.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, no, it's
I was
something
like,
more.
I know it was something easy but weird. So I was like, I don't even know what that is, ma'am. I had
Yes.
to Google it. But she
Yeah.
was like, your
Adrenals.
Adrenals.
Your
Goodness
adrenals.
gracious.
Yes.
You were like, your adrenals are probably overworked or stressed or
Yeah.
something. And I
Yeah.
was like, but Leslie, I was like, the Pilates class really is not like a workout. Like it really is more of like a easy breezy way to start my morning. And it's just like to get my day going. And then for me, ride is like my cardio. And then boxing is like the easiest way for me to feel like I'm like toning my arms without like being in the
Like,
gym.
why not break
doing
that up
weights.
across multiple days?
Well, so this is the thing. I'm going to explain my current routine and then I'm going to have Leslie break down pros and cons of this routine that I have because I know our listeners can probably look at what their routine is and compare. So on Mondays and Fridays, I do CS4, which is weight training. It's like a combination between an Orange Theory and an F45. So there's treadmill and then there's the rowers, not rowers, what are these? The skiers.
Yeah, the
skiers.
sled.
Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Skiers
ski
is actually exactly what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not sleds,
That.
skis, yeah.
Then there's the bench, which is like weights. And then there's the floor, which could be, you know, abs or whatever. And then there's always a fifth, which is like a combination of like all, it's kind of like cardio, weights, and some form of like strength training. And so I do that Monday and Friday. And then Tuesday and Thursday is the days I do the Pilates in the morning and then ride and then boxing in the evening back to back. And then Wednesday, I listen to my body. If I feel like I need a rest, it's a rest day. If I feel good, I go to the gym and I just do like weight training. And I just work on whatever I feel like you know, if I'm like, I could go for an arm workout, let's do arms. I just do whatever and listen to my body. I don't work out on Saturday or Sunday. I just always try to like take a walk or do something, but I for sure get at least like 15,000 steps to 20,000 steps a day because I walk to and from the gym.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
that's like my workout routine. Now I want you to explain what the DM meant when you were like, girl, we need to check these levels, like make sure you're not overdoing it. Explain that, and then give us some insight on how to kind of know if you're like overworking your body or not doing enough for your body in order to be considered like healthy and active for the normal person. I know we're all different, but like on an average scale, what that looks like.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to remember that schedule.
Right? It's like, wait, so
I'm going to write down my schedule.
Pilates. She does 5 p.m. ride, cycling, and then 6 p.m. boxing. Like every day?
Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Monday, Friday, like a cardio strength training class.
Okay.
And then Wednesday, strength training.
So you're doing something every single day, and then you
Monday through
recover.
Friday,
You recover
Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Or I do like a yoga or something, but usually I don't do anything on Saturday and Sunday.
So before I give you my feedback, let me just ask you your goals.
Okay. So goals is I used to be an NBA dancer and I was 125 to 130 pounds then. I know I'm not in my 20s anymore, but I weigh 175 now. I would love to be at like a 150 to 160 range just because I think for my height and my age, that is like a healthy weight. That would be like my arms being slimmer, my face being slimmer, my thighs being a little toned, not necessarily needing to see a number on the scale, but just feeling like I'm really in my best shape. The best way I can explain that is really the transformation I've seen with you. Like you right now, me and Cece are both can say this, like you just look healthy as fuck. Like
Yes.
you,
No, for
like,
real.
your face is snatched. Like you're literally glowing. Like,
Like your
you can
aura,
tell.
and like you can tell, even like you mentioned about like your mental clarity. You can tell that you're sharp.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
So,
Thank
and
you.
I've seen you transition. Like when I first met you,
We've
were
known each other
heavier.
for a while.
Yeah, it's been years. So like when I first met you, you were heavier, which at that point I didn't think you were a heavy girl. But I'm like, look at Leslie. Like I've been able to see through social media when I've seen you here and there in person. I'm like, you can see that you have just been getting healthier and healthier. Like your body is like, you look like you are at your healthiest. I know when I look in the mirror right now, I don't look or feel that I'm at my healthiest. And so it takes a little bit more for me than maybe an average woman who is naturally thinner to look fit and look thin. I need a lot of cardio and I need to burn a lot of calories. And so the reason for the 3 workouts in that day, when I do that Tuesdays and Thursdays, I burn around 1,500 active calories and around 3,500 calories total for the day. That's the only way I can be in a calorie deficit. Otherwise I will be starving myself. And so I only lose weight when I starve myself. Like, and when I mean starve myself, like eating grapefruit, just water, just chicken and like green leafy foods, but like nothing else. And it's like, who wants to live like that? It's like eating like a rabbit. So yeah. So the goal is to like be toned, to be tight, to feel like the healthiest version of myself, to be at a healthy weight. Really that is the only goal. But I will say this, the reasoning for my early morning routine, wake up, walking to the gym, that whole thing is Dre can contest to this, that I am a different person if I wake up and go about my day versus if I wake up and I do my morning routine. So I have to wake up and if I'm going to walk to the gym, I have to get a workout, and it doesn't make sense not to. The reason why I don't have to do it Saturday and Sunday is because it's the weekend. You really are just going to like fun stuff. Like there's really nothing to worry about. But Monday through Friday, I have goals. I have things I'm working on. I have to show up for my husband. So when I don't have that morning of being active and like crushing a goal, I start my day less confident. I start my day feeling guilty because I'm like, I should have done this, or I could could have done that. And then I'm just not in a good headspace to be the best version of myself. So the activity is like, the more active I am, the better, the more positive I am overall in the day. And so I want to maintain that feeling throughout the week.
Yeah, like complete mental different state whenever you move. Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, I would say to throw your scale out. Because what that scale says is really not the metrics that actually tell me if you have a balanced body composition. What I would recommend, even for like everybody listening, is a DEXA scan. This actually tells you what water you're retaining and what your body fat percentage in comparison to your muscle mass percentage is. That is the balance that we're targeting. I ideally would like to see like a healthy body composition is below 25% body fat.
Okay.
I have my body scan right here, Leslie.
Okay. Of course you did one. Of course you did one. I got it. She said, already done.
What's next?
So there's those companies called like Body Spec that have locations all over the country where you can go and like get a full body scan. Love those. There's a new scale that came out called Hume Health.
Okay.
And you like hold on to the bar while you step on, and it actually does tell you what your body fat percentage is to your muscle mass.
I've done that recently in my gym, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do it at home.
Yeah.
The goal really is to gain muscle mass, because when you have more muscle on your body, your resting metabolic rate is higher for a much longer time. So we're all really hyper focused on the calories that we burn during the workout, but it's really about the calories that your body burns all throughout the day.
Right.
That is how you have a high functioning metabolic system. So from what you're sharing with me, it sounds like you do have a significant focus on cardio. And what I see in women that really focus on cardio is that when they're doing the cardio, they are losing the weight. But as soon as they stop doing the cardio, that weight comes back immediately. It's about getting the muscle onto your body. And that is how you can have metabolic flexibility, so that you don't have to watch the caloric intake so much, and your weight doesn't fluctuate as much, and muscle weighs more than fat.
Yes.
So that's why I really don't like going just by the weight on this scale. A good target for like monthly is to gain a pound of muscle mass per month. 1 to 2 pounds of muscle mass per month. And I'm telling you, your physique you will reach your genetic peak if you target gaining muscle versus burning the body down. That is the mind shift that us as women have to get out of. Because if we're constantly worried about restricting, eating the least, burning the body down, running the body down to get smaller, it's not sustainable. It's miserable. So you don't have a good relationship to working out. I will say, I'm not demonizing cardio. I recommend cardio 1 to 2 times a week. Sprints for 20 minutes on and off. That is a fat burning machine right there.
Yes.
Sprints for 20 minutes on and off once a week. And then a low intensity, steady state of cardio is also really effective at upregulating the metabolism. But I would recommend to pivot more towards more strength per week, like 3 to 4 sessions of strength per week, rather than 2 strength and 3 to 4 cardio. It may take you a little bit longer to see the results, but once you see the results, they stay.
They're
They
lasting.
stick. Yes.
So would ride be considered that cardio?
I would say so. If it's a cycle,
I did ride versus because I used to do interval training on a treadmill. But I get such bad like shin splints and like my cat. I just don't like how running actually makes me feel. I did for a little bit try to become a runner, but then I was like, if it's hard on my joints, if it doesn't make me feel good, don't force it. Which is when I was like, I didn't think I would like ride at all, because honestly, if you sit on the bike, it hurts your butt. Like the next day my butt was so sore, like it would hurt to just sit down. And so I do the whole class without sitting on the bike. Like I'm literally up in the air the whole time, and it's on and off. So it is interval based where it's like you're full on sprinting, running on the bike.
I like the cycle because it is lower impact.
Okay.
It is lower impact, but higher intensity.
2 days a week is like, that is realistic, right?
Yes.
That feels good. Like I sometimes feel guilty because I feel like I'm not doing enough. So that's super helpful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Leslie.
I think all
Yeah.
this is super helpful. You know, it's
amazing.
great because you're giving women agency to really take control of their overall health. However, I feel like some women listening to this may agree and be like, yep, that's me. Yep, I can relate. But they're feeling probably a little overwhelmed. You told us we need to be getting 8 hours of sleep, but there's women who are waking up at 3 a.m. every single morning. I mean, there's women who are like, oh, I take a probiotic, but I heard I should be taking spore probiotics. What is that even? And how do you even know if they're the good kind? Should they all be third party tested? Like we should be eating organic and whole foods, but it's like now I have to cook them myself. What recipes should I be using? It's just so much information and so much that we now probably have to shift our life into doing. And they're feeling overwhelmed. So it's just easier to stay consistent with what they're currently doing than making these foundational changes. What is something that you would recommend that if they took anything away from this today, like these are the non-negotiables that you should be doing, you should be changing in your life in order to really take back that control of your health?
Yeah, because so far you said water, drink enough water, 2 days a week of cardio. Keep going. Was there anything else that we know that she said so far?
Sleep,
The water,
sleep is a big
8
one.
hours, 2 days of cardio. Okay, keep adding.
Lifting, like weight training.
How often should you do weight training?
I love a 3-day split. A 3-day split is a great place to start. Even a 2-day split is a great place to start.
What does split mean?
A split is like the different muscle groups that you're focusing on. So like if you're doing 2 days a week, I recommend 2 full body days. If you're doing 3 days a week, I recommend 1 upper body, 1 lower body, and 1 full body.
Perfect.
If you're doing 4 days a week, I would do 1 full body, probably 2 lower body, and 1 upper body.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend. Okay. So the question was, if we're overwhelmed, where do we even know where to start?
I mean, give us like a few things, like of course, hydration, rest and recovery.
You also said the
and
whole
keeping
foods.
our body moving and whole foods. But it's like, okay, done. But it still feels overwhelming to someone who's maybe just beginning in all of this to make all those changes, because they sound easy when we talk about it now, but you know, working with clients, putting it into practice, sometimes it takes people months, years to actually truly make this a lifestyle. So what's something that you recommend to your clients when they're just beginning? Like, these are the non-negotiables that we're going to focus on in order to once we achieve this level, then we can go on to the next level.
Yeah. First and foremost is always going to be sleep. If your sleep is out of whack, everything else is going to be out of balance. It's going to be harder. You're going to be dysregulated. You're going to crave more sugar. You're going to have more anxiety. So sleep, 7 to 8 hours is the target. And you have to protect your sleep. So zoom in on your evening routine, zoom in on your morning routine so that you can get clarity on, okay, I need to be up at this time in the morning. That means that by this time, devices need to be shut off. I need to be in my bed. Like, that was the first thing that Brie and I talked about. We talked about revamping her and Dre's evening routine, especially if you're a couple. Like, you need to communicate with your partner about this.
That's something that we struggle with in my household. Like my husband and I, child, our morning and evening routines are like whatever we want.
Yeah.
You know, it's like however the wind blows.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's something, you know, we talked about this earlier about your environment. So it sounds like we got to like truly it's not just about me. It's getting the household.
Exactly.
That is the foundation. You can't even think about the workouts and the foods and the meals and all the other stuff if there's not a solid foundation that is creating an environment that supports all those things.
Yes.
So it's like the routines should always be first and foremost.
100%.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say this is easy. This stuff is not easy. It's going to take effort, especially when you're unlearning, relearning, reintegrating. But what you really have to remind yourself of, it's either I choose this hard or I choose that hard.
Yeah, it's either you choose this and you dedicate the investment into your health, or you choose the hard of, at a later point, potentially getting cancer
diseases or cancer. But the thing is, people think that it just affects them later in life. It's affecting you today.
I mean, absolutely.
100% affecting your mental clarity, your nervous system, your anxiety, your sleep, your sex drive, your energy, the way that you feel in your clothes, the way that you show up in your work, the way that you show up for your children. Like, it's affecting you today. Like, please don't gaslight yourself and say that, oh, like, I'll deal with the problems whenever they present themselves later.
You know, also, this is the beautiful thing, right? So, Cece, you have Capri, who is now 4, and she is learning from you and Shane. And so for women who don't have kids yet, it's like, create this foundation so that when you have them, they're coming into a world where like this is their norm, because then imagine them at our age, like they're going to be so much better off. Then if you already have children, doing this now and making these shifts now and doing them with your little people in your house, like you're just setting them up for success. So it's like such a beautiful transition that, as Leslie said, it's not easy. It does take some time and effort, but at the end of the day, what's the other solution? You just keep going about life, and then you look up and you're in your 50s and you're wondering why your back hurts and why, you know, your stomach is cramping still. So it's like, I think it is a challenge, but it's a challenge that we all should be excited to accept to just get on now. And the thing is y'all, if you're really overwhelmed, this is why we have people like Leslie. You call her, because what Leslie does as a coach is she is able to look at what you have going on and understand that, yes, it is overwhelming. We're not going to do all this stuff at once. Here's the action plan. Here's what we're going to do. And then she acts as an accountability partner. It makes so much sense that if you are nervous, scared, that you actually have someone that you're working with, because it's just like therapy, right? Like you can work through and be intentional on working through personal things. But if you don't have a professional who is holding you accountable, who is acting as the additional support in whatever it is that you're doing, advocating for you, it's really easy to just fall out of the routine, to stop caring, and to let time go by, and then you realize you're still suffering from the same issue. So it's like, call Leslie.
Leslie, do you have like a transformative story of one of your clients that some of our girls would be able to resonate with and maybe feel empowered by?
Well, you guys were just talking about your girl and your baby girl, and it reminded me of this client of mine. Her name is Kristen. And when she first came to me, she was 35 years old, and she was very unhappy with her physique. She had had 2 pregnancies. She had 2 toddlers, and she was very bloated. One of her most severe symptoms was fatigue. She was just chronically fatigued. She had absolutely no sex drive. Like libido gone.
Yep. I felt like that a few months, like maybe about a year ago. And now it's back, but it was a struggle.
I mean, it's your hormones. It is your hormones that dictates your libido. It's your stress hormones as well that really greatly impacts your libido. So when she first came to me, she had all of those symptoms going on. And of course, in her intake form, I asked, like, where were your labs the last time? And her doctor said everything was normal.
Right.
And she couldn't get them to run any more labs because she kept going back and saying, hey, like, what you've recommended is not working, and I want to get to the bottom of this. And so she was denied, and she was told that this is just how women feel with 2 toddlers.
See, and that's the gaslighting that make women believe that this is normal.
Yes. Yes. So I ran the labs that her doctor was not willing to run. And I discovered she had heavy metal toxicity. She had severe yeast and bacterial overgrowth. Her adrenals were very much crashing out. She had very depleted electrolytes. Electrolytes is what fuels your adrenals. So like the electrolytes is not just a trend thing. Get your electrolytes in with your hydration. So after we ran those labs and we discovered her gut bacterial overgrowth and her heavy metal toxicities, and she had some food sensitivities that were causing a lot of joint pain. And when you have food sensitivities and you're constantly exposing yourself to the foods that your immune system is sensitive to every single day, it absolutely drains your immune system. And a lot of your resources internally go to fueling your immune system because your immune system is like fighting this food that keeps on coming into the system, and that drains your energy. So we removed the things that were causing her inflammation. We restored her deficiencies. We balanced her hormones. We killed off the excess yeast and bacterial overgrowth, repopulated the gut with the good bacteria. She lost 5 inches off of her waist.
Wow.
She lost 18 pounds. She has full, like, libido is firing. Okay.
Third baby loading. I'm kidding.
She looks amazing. She's wearing shorts again for the first time in years. And one of the things that, like, I get emotional about whenever I talk about it is she's a mother, and her daughter is now watching her changes.
Yeah.
And she still texts me to this day telling me about how her daughter is getting excited about trying the things that she's eating. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. When you decide to do this work, you are changing your legacy. You are changing the generation of your family.
Absolutely.
You decide that I will be the one that changes. And please do not listen when they tell you that your genetics control your health experience. The genetics are controlled by your diet and your lifestyle. You control your health destiny. You have so much more investment in what that health outcome is. And she has completely changed her life, and she has completely changed her children's life because she decided to do the work. She decided that she was not going to be okay with just, this is how you're supposed to feel as a mother.
Right.
Yep.
So there was Leslie before her story, and there was Leslie after her story. So I apologize. I get emotional, especially when it comes to, like, how she gets so excited about how her kids have been, like, totally, their life has changed because they're watching their mother take back control of her health.
And also their life will change because their mother will be able to be more of an active person in their life because she has taken back control of her health.
Yeah. And mind you, she doesn't have a gym membership. She did all of her workouts from home.
Let's go.
She's not on any GLP-1 medications. Like, everything that she did, like, literally the weight, like, she still texts me to this day, the inches continue to fall off of her waist because she's not inflamed anymore. A lot of this weight that we get so pressed about, and a lot of my, like, cortisol face and puffiness, like, I didn't lose a ton of weight, but I lost a lot of inches because the inflammation detoxified out of my system. I removed the things that were triggering it, and I rebalanced my body naturally. So
we don't need liposuction. We just need to get our health together.
Hello.
That's what
Hello. At the end of the day, we're going to have to invest in something. What are you choosing to invest in?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Leslie, what are you working on right now? Like, what's the next thing on your journey of really shaping this space for functional health and wellness for women?
Oh, man. So this year, I actually launched my first group program. For the last 5 years, it's all been one-on-one work. And I was really, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it because I really deeply believe in bioindividuality and speaking just one-on-one. But the magic that has happened when women are moving in a pack, in community, watching others do the hard shit that they're trying to do, they're like, oh, you can do it, I can do it. Or, man, I'm having a hard day, and it's a completely safe space. So I launched my program called She's a Force this year. And it has completely changed my vision for what I want to bring to the world in my work. And so it does actually incorporate lab testing. So there is some bioindividual one-on-one work that's incorporated into the experience because the hormones that I'm testing for are oftentimes hormones that their doctor's not willing to get into. And the other thing is, like, doctors, there are some really incredible doctors out there, and they really want to advocate. They really want to get you what you need, but the insurance companies give doctors a really hard time to be able to get you what you need. It incorporates food sensitivity testing, so we can get to the bottom of the systemic inflammation. It incorporates cortisol testing, adrenal testing, full hormone panel, and every single woman in this program right now is absolutely crushing, like absolutely crushing. Like I have one girl that lost 22 pounds. I had another girl that lost 18 pounds, and it's body fat. And they're gaining muscle, losing body fat, gaining their energy back, getting their libido back. On average, the women in this program are reducing their symptoms by 75%. And this is a 90-day program. So like, I know it takes patience, it takes effort, it takes work, but babe, like you can
got 3
turn.
It's
You got
literally
3
taking
months.
control of your life.
Literally.
So how can our listeners stay up to date with all things Leslie, especially when it comes to if they want to join one of your group coaching groups, that's a thing, or work with you one-on-one? How do they stay in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm heavy on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram almost every single day. Like
She will check y'all through your stories, okay?
I knew Bree knew I was coming from the right space. I was like, she'll receive this. She knows I mean well.
I went home and rethought my whole life. I was like, dang, Leslie said something about this word I don't know, but I'm sure it's important.
Your adrenals are what produces your cortisol and your adrenaline.
Gotcha.
And so you just want to watch with like cardio and high intensity workouts really pumps the adrenals. And if you're doing really hard workouts, you really need to be getting your electrolyte minerals in. You got to nourish the adrenals so that so you can hold more stress capacity, so you can be more stress resilient. But Instagram is where you can find me, Leslie Jackson Wellness. You can find my website, lesliejacksonwellness.com. That is a really easy way to get directly in touch with me. But I just really love what the conversations that you all bring together on this show is world changing for women, truly. And I have felt so just cozy and comfortable in your presence. And I know that you guys have such great intentions, and it just feels really amazing to be a part of what you guys are doing here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and educating us, Leslie. This is something that all women need to be talking more about and need to be taking more control over. So thank you for giving us the agency to be able to do that.
Of course.